pull the red clip out from under the connector there and then squeeze. Then it'll disconnect from the mass airflow sensor, and then there's 4 screws holding in the airbox. And I believe you're going to use an 8mm. I used a socket on the end of a drill to take those out. Using a socket, take off the clamp that holds the intake tube to the mass airflow sensor, and then you can pull the airbox off. Pull the old air filter out and bring the top of the airbox over to the bench, where you're going to find 2 Allen head screws that hold the mass airflow sensor into place, and you go ahead and take those out. Once that's all set, you take the top of the airbox off the mass airflow sensor, and this is a kind of a holder that I made up, and it's got the right angles on it so that when the mass airflow sensor meets up with the intake tube, it's the exact angle so that there's no unnecessary bends to the intake tube. And with the air filter that I picked out, the cone does not. The cone sits flush with the top of the bottom of the airbox, which makes just a cleaner install, I think. I'm using stainless steel hardware with button head screws and then stainless steel nuts to hold that into place. Once you've got the mass airflow attached to the shroud, put the cone filter on and make sure that you put the clamp on as well before you slide the cone onto the mass airflow, and then go ahead and rest it down on top of the lower intake box. Connect your intake tube, and then I used 2 Phillips head black tipped screws that are just about the same as the original ones that came with the top of the airbox that stayed there, and screw those right in. And you can go ahead and reconnect the connector to the mass airflow and screw the clamps from the intake tube tight, and then the clamp that goes to the air filter onto the mass airflow sensor, screw that in tight as well, and that should finish it up. So the one that I made, I bent on a brake and used wrinkle finish, as well as some metal edge treatment, rubber on the sides, and you can see there that it aligns up really well and just kind of fits in with the engine bay real nicely.